these days, new data is coming at us constantly from all kinds of sources, sensors, and devices. For those of you who work with real-time data, the GeoEvent extension for ArcGIS lets you bring in that information, do in-stream analytics, detect incidents, and send alerts. For example, this is a data stream of current flights and their positions across the US. But as data keeps coming in higher and higher volumes and velocities, it's hard for traditional systems to keep up with the flow of information and store it for analysis. So in version 10.4, we've redesigned the entire GeoEvent architecture so you can capture features to the spatiotemporal big data store. The big data store is a new part of ArcGIS that also takes advantage of distributed computing technology so that you can write up to 10,000s of features a second and get past previous bottlenecks. This is GeoEvent running in Amazon. The individual flight positions are coming in bursts of up to 500 features a second. And using a cluster of 5 machines in the Amazon cloud, we've been ingesting this flight data to the big data store for the past 2 weeks. And so far, we've captured almost 200 million historical flight positions. The big data store provides the elasticity and scalability that you need to work at the speed of your data. Now, these architectural enhancements also include new and dynamic ways to view your information. You can configure your GeoEvent maps to aggregate your data on the fly so that you can work with millions to billions of observations. So what you're looking at here is everywhere a plane has flown in the last 2 weeks. Hundreds of millions of flight positions are being summarized on the fly with each pan and zoom. The bins update with the scale of your map. And you can also configure statistics to run on each of the bin cells in addition to the count of observations. For the first time, you can have a dynamic pattern map that never goes out of date. Now, these on-the-fly aggregations are also immensely powerful for understanding your information. For example, as we get closer, it's easy to see the takeoff and landing patterns that form around each airport. There's an incredible depth of information here. And being able to store these larger quantities of features and work with them effectively opens up opportunities for forensic analysis, because you can filter and search features in the big data store like any other layer. For example, every few weeks, I take United Airlines Flight 1602 from San Francisco to work with our Atlanta office. After a few weeks of collecting all this information, we mined the 200 million flight records for the 1602 flights so that we could recreate their routes and study the deviations. Imagine the possibilities when you can work effectively with your big historical data to understand normal and abnormal patterns. Along with these kinds of forensics, you can also replay your real-time data. On last Monday, the 15th, while DC was getting snow, the southern states were dealing with storms and tornado watches. Combining the flight data with the historical weather information, it's easy to see the deviations that the pilots made around the storm cells. As the Internet of Things becomes a reality, there's more and more real-time data for you to understand and track what's going on, but your historical data becomes even more valuable for understanding and optimizing your systems. The GeoEvent extension lets you monitor your real-time data. And now, combined with the big data store, you can store massive quantities of information and work with it effectively to keep building a smarter world. Thank you. Jack?
That's great. It's worth pausing here for a moment to think about what this means. In fact, the same concepts that many of you know very well of geographic analysis are now being extended to space-time geographic analysis or space-time analytics. The same user experience for interacting with big data is the same experience that you have with small data. We call it small. So the way this is all being engineered and put together is the idea that nothing changes except that things really speed up and we have new multidimensional data coming in. So feel comfortable with this new technology is what I'm suggesting, because it's going to give you lots more content and it's going to bring the temporal element into it.